time. Coming from a joint family that was not very well to do, I was lucky to have been brought up by my grandparents along with my parents. A grandfather who was practical and logical, who always spoke about letting go of these three bad traits: jealousy, hatred, and greed. He also taught us to be resourceful with whatever little we had. And then a grandmother who was emotional and spiritual, who always spoke about positive thoughts and positive vibrations we need to have to be good humans. Namaste, judges. My name is Suhas, and today as a barista, I would like to transform the wisdom passed on to me by my grandparents into a positive physical coffee experience by using energy, frequency, and vibrations. I would like to start by brewing espressos for my signature beverage, which I will chill for use later. I'm using the same coffee and the same recipe of 21 in and 40 out for my espresso course and my signature course. I'm using 93 degrees water for all the courses that I'm serving you today, as I found at this temperature the sweetness to be at its highest. To grow as a human and to grow as a coffee roaster, I realized that I had to let go of jealousy and work with a roaster who's more knowledgeable than I am. So I chose to work with Kemal from Archer's Coffee Roasters, UAE, who has roasted all the coffees that I'm using today. These coffees were roasted in a double-wall roasting machine by loading them at 180 degrees Celsius and unloading them at 208, with a total roast time of 11 minutes and a 13% development time. We found that this roast profile enhanced the flavor clarity and the sweetness of my coffee. Now, judges, the espressos that I'm extracting now, I'll be chilling them using the Zoku chiller, which will chill the espressos to 20 degrees Celsius, as I found the flavor clarity to be at its highest at this temperature. Now, I request you to please take a sip of water from the glasses in front of you to prepare your palate for the espresso course. And judges, the menus in front of you are for your reference. And the small cups in front of you are for your used spoons. The green tip geisha varietal that I'm using for my espresso course and my signature course comes from a farm that needs no introduction. Los Alpes from Finca Deborah, Chiriqui, Volcan Parama. The coffees are grown at 1,700 meters above sea level. I asked Kai Jansen, the visionary coffee producer behind this coffee, what made it so extraordinary. His answer was beautifully simple. He said, sometimes the greatest processes are the simplest ones. He anaerobically fermented ripe green tip geishas for a period of 48 hours in airtight stainless steel tanks, after which he dried them on raised beds for 24 days until the moisture content reached 13%. He found that this processing method created the perfect environment for a controlled microbial activity, leading to a cup that is elegantly sweet and remarkably complex. And now, judges, I request you to please make a note of the tasting notes of my espressos. You will taste acidity, medium to high. Bitterness, low. Sweetness, medium. You'll taste flavors of jasmine, nectarine, blackberry, and a mandarin citrus. You'll taste medium weight, silky texture, and a lingering maple syrup finish. And now, judges, as I bring you these espressos, I request you to please evaluate the crema and wait for my instructions. Now, I'll be passing vibrations of 348 hertz through these espressos using these tuning forks, which will create a small splash and agitate the polyphenol molecules and the aromatic compounds encouraging them to collide and bond together, leading to formation of larger molecular structures that push out the trapped CO2 in the espresso, enhancing the overall tactile. This will soften the acidity, enhance the sweetness, and reduce the bitterness. Now, judges, I request you to please ignore the small splashes in my cup and enjoy the positive vibrations, but without stirring them. Please enjoy while I prepare your milk beverage.
Racing time of 3 weeks. To allow the sweetness body to support the acidity. I think dosing in 21 grams in this fraction of 50 grams. And today, the Espresso course is right now. We're going to experience a light medium weight, silky texture, the notes of apricot.
And now, judges ready? Judges ready? In 2016, Felipe Sardi of La Palma El Tucan shared the legendary green tip geisha seeds with Prakashan of Riverdale Farm, India. He did so by not worrying about envy or comparison, which would have led to hatred. He also guided him on nurturing these coffees in Indian soil. For my milk beverage, I'm using a 50-50 blend of two remarkable green tip geishas. The first one from La Palma El Tucan, Cundinamarca, Colombia, grown at 1,800 meters above sea level. And the second one from Riverdale Farm, India, grown at 1,400 meters above sea level. Both of these coffees were processed as naturals and carbonic macerated for a period of 72 hours. And then dried on raised beds for 24 days. This processing method was used to enhance the fruity flavor notes of the coffees. These coffees were also roasted in a double wall roasting machine with a long development time of 20% and 24% to enhance the syrupy body of the coffees. For my milk beverage, I wanted to highlight the clarity of flavors, but at the same time wanted to give it a rich and indulgent mouthfeel, which I was not able to achieve with milk that had low fat content. So I used the milk separator that I built along with my team to separate a portion of the fat from the milk. I was able to achieve this by spinning the milk at high speeds between these vibrating plates, where the heavier fat molecules moved outward and the lighter, sweeter milk solids concentrated in the center, both of them flowing out separately. I collected the milk that had the higher milk solids for my milk beverage today. For this, I used dairy milk from Czech Republic from a brand called Milbok that has 5% fat and 3.5% protein. To this, I added 10% of millet milk, which is made from cereal grains that are abundantly found in India. I did so to soften the acidity and add a malty and nutty sweetness to my milk beverage. I'm steaming the milk to 52 degrees Celsius. As I found at this temperature, the fruity flavor notes of my espressos were further enhanced. I'm steaming the milk to 52 degrees Celsius, as I mentioned. And now I request you to please make a note of the tasting notes of my milk beverage. You will taste a rich, sweet, and creamy mouthfeel with flavors of strawberry, marshmallow, melted butter, butterscotch, and melted vanilla ice cream in the aftertaste. And now, judges, these cups that I'm serving you not only have amazing flavor, but they tell a story against hatred, and the spirit of generosity, mentorship, and collaboration in coffee. Judges, once you have taken a couple of sips, I request you to please stir them after 10 times and then drink them again and take generous sips. Please take 2 sips and then stir them 10 times and drink them again. And now, judges, And now, judges, I would come back to you with your signature beverage. Please enjoy. And now, judges, ready for my signature beverage? I would like to add the following ingredients into the blender. 50 grams of mango juice, which will transform to apricot. 10 grams of tomato juice, which will transform to papaya. Both of these juices were made by modeling 200 grams of each of the fruits and filtering them separately using a kitchen sieve. And then 40 grams of a honey mix, which I prepared by blending 10 grams of honey, 5 grams of jaggery, and 15 grams of hot water. This will enhance the sweetness and give the coffee a white floral aftertaste, as the honey that I'm using has floral undertones as it was harvested during the coffee blossom season in my coffee farm. And then 10 grams of clarified sourdough, which I prepared by blending 100 grams of sourdough, 500 grams of hot milk, and 5 grams of vinegar. After the mixture curdled, I filtered it using a muslin cloth. This will give a silky smooth texture to my signature beverage. Now, I'll be adding these espressos that I chilled earlier into the ultrasonic sound machine, which I built along with my team in our R&D lab in India. And this passes 22 kilohertz of ultrasonic sounds through the espressos. And since this is not audible to human ears, I request you to please take a closer look as the process takes place. And the inspiration for this came from a book that my grandfather had called My Inventions by Nikola Tesla. The gist of it says that if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibrations. And this reminded me of my grandmother talking about the ancient Indian scriptures, the Vedas, which talk about the power of mantras, which are chants, and the vibrations it creates, and the positive effects it has on water. Hence, I decided to pass ultrasonic sounds through my espressos, and voila, it worked. It led to a phenomenon called cavitation, which is formation of oil bubbles and collapsing of them, leading to emulsification and mixing of the oils with water, giving it a buttery mouthfeel. Now, I've added these buttery espressos into the blender along with the rest of the ingredients and blend them to homogenize the mixture and give it a silky smooth texture. Now, I would like to talk about a trait that does not let me sleep at night, which is greed. This trait makes me want more than that is needed. I had to let go of greed and open source the designs to my ultrasonic device, which is when creativity flowed back and I was able to create this signature beverage. Just like farmer Felipe Sardi of La Palma El Tucan, who chose to close his farm to protect the integrity and reputation of his coffees, as his quality standards were dropping. He chose not to chase short-term profits. Instead, he chose patience. And he started using this time to innovate and create coffees that will shape the future. I learned from him that true greatness comes from letting go of greed. And now, judges, I request you to please wait until I call time before you enjoy your signature beverage. And please don't forget to swirl it 5 times before you do so. But for now, I request you to please make a note of the tasting notes of my signature beverage. You will taste apricot, banana, papaya, milk chocolate, and a white flour aftertaste. You'll taste medium weight, silky smooth texture, and a lingering sweetness in the aftertaste. And now, judges, as I let go of jealousy, hatred, and greed, what remains in these cups are collaboration, clarity, and positive vibrations. Indian culture and India are not just part of the global coffee conversation anymore. In our own ways, we are redefining it. Namaste and time.